Welcome to a very special Koala Gardens video today. This video is a tribute video to one of the most amazing koalas that has lived here on the property, the koala named Bullet. He lived here from 2017 until 2022 and was close to 8 years old when we lost him. This is going to be a big one. And I want to give a huge shout of thanks to Lynn, who has increased her Patreon pledge and is now one of the 3 alpha producers, Jeff Anderson, Rich in Alaska, and Lynn, bringing this video to you and to all of those who support what I'm doing in so many ways in the background. If I were asked to come up with a few words that I would use to describe Bullet, they would be goofball, eats a lot, and acrobat. We are going to see all of those sides of Bullet during this video. I want to also acknowledge the Widjabul people of the Bundjalung Nation, on whose land I am so proud to live, work, and play. This video is coming to you as a premiere, which means if you are watching it live with me right now, we get to talk in the text chat below. And if you're watching it later on, it'll run like any regular YouTube video, but you can still see our chat. The best place to start is the very beginning, when Bullet first came to Koala Gardens and how he got his name. Well, sometimes it's hard to tell if we've got a new boy or a girl, but look at this. Bullet made it obvious as anything right from the start. And when I posted it onto Facebook, I made a joke and said, he's showing us his ammunition. And one of the followers very quickly jumped up and said, we should call him Bullet. And bang, the name stuck. We didn't go through quite such a process back then to name new koalas, but everyone just laughed and laughed and said, yeah, that's a great name. Little did we ever know he was going to hang around for years and years and even become a feature in a children's book. And the illustrator, Lucienne, said, we cannot do a children's book with a koala with a name Bullet. And so she settled on the name Nugget instead of Bullet, which only made me laugh harder because, well, we've either got little bullets or little nuggets. What's the difference? One thing is for sure. Bullet soon won hearts all around the world. One of the reasons I personally often thought of Bullet as a goofball was some of the sleeping positions he would get into, particularly when really high up in the trees. So good at wedging himself in, and he did not care. Like all koalas don't care about the weather, he just could sleep through rain, hail, or shine. Bullet arrived on the property at around the 18 months to 2 years old, so he was just beginning to get a scent gland and was a juvenile heading into a sub-adult age. Right from the start, Bullet was a really calm koala, and remember, I'm not as close to him as I look most of the time. Some of you who follow me for a long time know that we are going to see some fun, very close encounters. But most of the time I'm quite a distance away, but still, Bullet really never cared. I also have got loads and loads. I would have hundreds of hours of footage of Bullet. Don't worry, we're only going to look at some of that today, a sweeping look at some of the best snippets. He does have a huge playlist, which I'll link to, so that if you want to see more Bullet, then you can go and watch that. One of the main reasons that I've got hundreds of hours of Bullet is because Bullet spent a lot of his life right from the start living in the trees that are just outside my kitchen window. In fact, even to this very day, you will still hear me refer to those trees as Bullet's trees. It just makes sense. In fact, Bullet would use trees all over the property. He did roam quite a large area. He just spent more of his time in front of the house than he spent elsewhere. In 2018, in the May, he disappeared for a couple of weeks, and when he came back, I was happy to see him back, and I didn't even realise that there was anything wrong at first, because koalas so rarely show clearly that something's wrong. I mean, now I look at this and I'm like, how did I not notice that on his leg? When I saw him another couple of days later, I took photos and I still didn't notice that it had gotten a little bit bigger. I don't like to show distressing images, so I won't show you how it then developed over the next couple of days, where it became a complete abscess and it blew open. I did, however, set a trap, and I was able to catch Bullet. You can see him there in the cage, ready for me to transport him to the koala hospital. You can see that full story in the link above. He was treated at the hospital. It did take some time, and you can see how cozy he is curled up in a tree the day he was released home. I took this video a couple of days later, and you can see the wound on his thigh there, and you can see that it's still slightly open, because even though he was ready to come home, that wound still had to heal from the inside out. And heal it did. I think that being at home, getting more exercise and eating the great leaf here is what really helped him to heal all the way up. Look at him, only a couple of weeks after coming home, in the tall Bullets trees outside the house. You can use the Super Thanks button below to leave a tip to help the work that I do. As little as $2. Every bit truly helps. The next thing that you'll notice about him is that he also has a tag in his ear. It is law here in Australia that if a koala goes into a licensed hospital, they must be tagged on release. So Bullet came home with a tag in his ear, but if you know Bullet, you'll know that he does lose that tag. Let's just have a little bit of time watching him settling in at home over the next few months with an ear tag. Sometimes I'm even lucky enough that from my kitchen window I can see not only the big trees but the plantation trees, and you can see Bullet doing some quality control work down there. One of the things that we've always loved about Bullet is how much footage I was able to get of him climbing and leaping about through the trees. So agile. If you're currently watching my videos at the moment, you might recognise this particular pink bloodwood tree because this is a tree that I'm seeing woody in quite frequently. I just love it when I see different generations of koalas using the same trees. I have some incredibly talented people who follow my work at Koala Gardens and who do all kinds of things in response to how they feel about what they're seeing here. Now we're going to see some acrobatics of Bullet a bit later, but just look at this drawing that Sean did of exactly how Bullet looked doing some of his acrobatics. That is still one of my favourite videos of him. This is another fantastic drawing by Sean. He's really able to capture the essence of each individual koala, and I'm so pleased to be able to include some of Sean's drawings in this tribute video. Thanks, Sean. And now we're moving into 2019. There's a tag in Bullet's ear. There's a tag in Bullet's ear. There's a tag in Bullet's ear, and all of a sudden, wait a minute, there's no tag in Bullet's ear. So somewhere in just a couple of days between being here, not being here and coming back, the tag was gone, no sign of blood, no sign of pain, no sign of a tag. And forevermore, Bullet had that wedge out of his ear, and it never appeared to bother him even once. But can you see how he's really starting to show some maturity in his face, in the size of his body? Our boy is growing up. But he's still a goofball. Now these two photos are two of my favourite photos, I think, of Bullet. I've probably got about 10 photos that I love a lot, but I just have such a clear memory of this day and him just looking at me and me taking those photos, and I still love them. It was really difficult to go through and pick out which photos and pieces of video would go into this video because there are so many amazing photos of Bullet over the years. You can see now that that scent gland is developing up, and so Bullet is now starting to head towards full maturity. And he's as big a goofball as he ever was. He had some ridiculous position that he would sleep in, and one of them that he loved was just sitting almost upside down with his feet up. Would make me laugh just over and over and over. Koalas' arms are the strongest parts of their bodies, and you can really see how true that is when you watch a koala just clinging onto the side of a tree. I mean, can you imagine doing that? We should say their claws are pretty darn strong too. All koalas love to eat, of course, but I think that the fact that I could get so much video of Bullet eating and so close up, I have so many great memories of even watching him while filming. Now, he's in a young swamp mahogany and they have really big leaves. And Bullet was just a master at sitting there and chomping those big leaves down. And look at the way he's sleeping. I mean, my goodness. I love the way in this position he's got his foot being sort of braced by his wrist. You can see the thumb on his foot and just the way it's braced. I don't know, there's something appealing about it. I mean, I do have a little bit of a koala foot fetish. I think everybody's pretty aware of that one. As the months move on, we also notice his scent gland flattening out more as he uses it and rubs it on the trees more and more. He is just enjoying that meal so much there. Don't you love the way he is wedged in and is fitting in the V of that branch there and bracing himself with his feet? And a little bit of Bullet on the move. Aha. He's got Summer bailed up in the tree. You might remember that video. I'll put a link to it above if you want to watch more. I have other videos on the channel here where you can see a lot of information about male koala behaviour and how these interactions in the trees between males work. Bullet's like, I might have a meal. Yeah, nah, I'll leave him there. I'll work it out. And Bullet bellows. Did you know that every male koala has a distinctly different bellow? I hear Valentine all the time now. Very different to Bullet. And just look at this. I look at all this video and I just have such clear memories of taking nearly every piece of video. Bullet is asleep. Look at the position he's in. He's like draped over very thin bits of branches, blowing in the breeze, and now just get a feeling for how high up in that pink bloodwood he is. Crazy. That's why I call him a goofball. And we're heading into 2020. I realise that I also have a lot more video of him from about 2020 onwards. It's probably because I was getting better cameras and equipment, etc. by then. That's one of Bullet's trees outside the kitchen window, for sure. In 2020, Bullet is going from 4 to 5 years old, so he has hit full maturity now, and you can see it in the roundness of his head and that dark scent gland on his chest. Some of my Discord members have written some little things that I want to just read out during this video. I was so sad to hear the news that you had left us, Bullet. You were the koala that first attracted me to Koala Gardens. You were such a character with your raggedy pirate ear. No ear furniture for you, oh no. For me, in the dark times of lockdown, you became a little furry ray of light, living your best life at Koala Gardens. It was lovely to see you munching on your many favourite leaves, doing incredible acrobatics and being just a bit grumpy as you woke up. If you've been following this channel for some years, you might even remember this particular day. I just could not stop laughing. Luckily, I've got the camera sitting on a tripod. So Bullet is in the forest red gum, one of his favourite trees outside the kitchen, and that's a young tallow wood underneath it. The tallow wood was too thin in the stems for him to get to the tops of the tree by climbing into the tree. So he's holding on and leaning over and gobbling that tallow wood up. And what makes me laugh even harder now looking back on it is that we have seen Valentine do exactly the same thing. So I guess that all great koala minds think alike. Finally had enough. Now, koalas usually go in reverse when they go down tree branches, but Bullet, he seemed to be sure-footed enough that sometimes he just said, nah, I can go forwards. Life can be pretty tiring for a koala. Sometimes you need to just sit and contemplate the good things in life. And when enough contemplating has been done, just put your head against the trunk of a tree. You'll be fine. Go to sleep. One of Bullet's favourite sleeping positions, however, was to sit curled up with things with his feet up. Now just look at how thin that branch is that he's sitting on. The agility of koalas and their ability to know what branch will hold them just never fails to amaze me. One of the best things about having koalas in the tree outside the kitchen window is being able to grab video without even having to go outside. Although sometimes it means the koala does disappear from you. That is one of the best things of life, is sitting and looking out over the view. It often meant that I could see Bullet wake up too and could grab the camera, and if I'm lucky, I'm just in time to see some terrific leaps and jumps that only a koala can do. And Bullet knew these trees just so well. He was an expert at navigating between the two big red gums. It did give him the name of being an acrobat, and we're going to see some more of that coming up in a little while. Again, sitting in the funniest of positions, just comfy as you please, on a branch that looks like it could just give way at any time, right out on the edge. Oh, okay, he says. Is this better? I'll come in just a little bit more for you. Now remember, I would never show anything bad to you on a video, but just get ready and watch this because it does give the heart a flutter. No worries. I'll play it again while you get some clean underwear. He looks around as if to say, geez, I hope nobody saw that. And then, in true koala fashion, he just keeps on going on with his day, and he ended up climbing right up to the top of the tree. Nothing really phases a koala for very long because they are arboreal. They are made to live in the treetops and to leap and jump about all through the biggest of the trees in the forest. This time Bullet's got Swaggy bailed up in the tree. I think Swaggy should have stayed down the back of the property. Oh yeah, Matilda didn't want him either, did she? I love watching the way koalas move through the trees, and these big trees, Bullet just knew them all, and yet they seemed like a bit of a maze to me. But he was always confident and knew exactly how to get to where he wanted to go and what he wanted to say. I always loved the way Bullet would bellow and climb and scent mark all at the same time. Can you see the claw marks on that tree trunk there? There's little dot claw marks which are made by the hands, and no wonder they have to hold on pretty tight when they're climbing. This was a spot that quite a few times I saw Bullet sitting in this part of one of his trees outside the kitchen window doing a slow wake up. And you might remember that just recently I did a video of Valentine doing a slow wake up on this same branch. Most of the time Bullet did go down in reverse. Sorry, the shaky cam, because I'm actually trying to move to get into a position so I'll be able to see him get down, and look at that. He's jumped down, races to one tree, jumps in, has a bit of a look, races to another tree, stops, has a bit of a look, thinks about what he's doing. No, I'll go back up into this tree that I was in. No, that's not where I want to go to. Oh good, I'll just shuffle along to the tree that I most want. And what I most want is this yummy tallowood. As you know, koalas spend most of their time sleeping, but the beauty of having a koala near the house is that I also got to see lots of the times when he was actually awake. And it gives us a great insight into just how active a koala is when they are awake. And the main activity that they engage in when they are awake is a lot of munching, eating those tough eucalyptus leaves. And Bullet was never one to be daunted by the effort that he might need to go to get those said leaves, let alone how he could use the branches to make his own chairs. There's nothing like an early morning looking out my kitchen window just as the sun is starting to lighten the sky and discover koalas. Okay, Bullet. Oh, see, sometimes you do want to go down face first because then you're able to jump. And Bullet, honestly, he loved sleeping in this position, often in the same branch, but also in a variety of similar style branches throughout these trees. Another big part of koala life is grooming, yawning, grooming, scratching, getting ready for a good sleep. I think one of the huge benefits for Bullet of using these big trees outside the kitchen window is that you also had easy access to the whole plantation. So you have a smorgasbord. He's getting into a tallowood now and scoffing that down, but he also had easy access to the forest red gum he was in, to swamp mahoganies, to dunny eyes, to Sydney blue gums, and to some hybrid trees, as well as the Melaleuca quinquenervias. I mean, what more could a koala want when you think about it? My question is, how does he actually stay in the tree? I mean, I would just fall through that gap. It's sneaky time. Have a wake up, have a look out. What am I going to do today? Where am I going to go? Decisions. one of the things I always noticed about Bullet, because of how well he knew these trees, was just how agile he was in there. He would just like make a decision and then flip around and scoot up, down, jump around, just knowing exactly what he wanted to do. You can see I've got a trail camera set up there, but of course he's not getting caught by that camera. Oh no, no, no. He's flying under the radar and scooting off down to another one of his favourite trees that I can also see outside the kitchen window. Again, apologies for the shaky cam. I'm trying to follow him and figure out where is he going to go and get him in sight. Again, you can see just how well he knows these trees. There I go. Leap, leap, up. I know exactly where I want to go. Some days it would be amazing. I'd be doing something in the kitchen and I'd look out the window, see, Bullet's awake, and I'd grab the camera and I would literally have to run and just try and run really quietly, stop, hold it still, see what I could get. And sometimes I got some good little bits of video. Never once have I tired of watching any koala eat, but especially Bullet. Maybe it's because I could so often get good clear footage of him eating. I mean, there's a little bit of leaf blowing around his face, but we just get to experience that meal so well with Bullet. And a few more of my favourite views of Bullet's face. What a character. This particular photo, I have used that to develop quite a few nice pieces of merchandise. And I just love that little butt as he's heading towards the kindy. 2021, Bullet's really a fully mature fella now. Just look at that scent gland now. Wow. A little more from my friends on Discord. You were just wonderful. A star koala who gave such pleasure to so many. I was surprised at the size of the paw print you left on my heart. The fact that your loss is being felt around the world shows what an ambassador you were for your species. Some of you might even remember this day when I had Bullet and Luna in the same tree. Again, you can see how flattened that scent gland is. That's caused by lots of rubbing against tree branches. Talk about king of all his surveys. Huh. And in usual koala fashion, rain makes no difference. You just curl up, keep your head tucked in, and sleep it out, just like you would sleep it out on a sunny day. I always refer to this tree also as one of Bullet's trees, but it is actually a pink bloodwood, so it's an important shelter tree, but not particularly a food tree. Whereas these pale grey bark trees are forest red gums, and they are primary food trees. Look at how his head is jammed in there. It makes my jaw ache just looking at it. Oh, that's better. Yeah, that was too jammed in, mate. Oh, can somebody make the world go away for a while? When you see out the kitchen window that something's happening, sometimes it's best to turn the camera on before you even start getting out of the house. And there we go. There he is. He's on the move. Try and catch all the action you can. You might remember this one too. What Bullet is doing there, he's eating dirt. This is an important thing that koalas will do at times if they need to rebalance the bacteria in their intestinal tract. They'll eat some dirt. It also gives them some great trace minerals. Now you can see in this video he's bellowing, but I'm actually taking this video from inside the house and he's in the tree that's the furthest away. So I was able to catch the video, but no sound this time. I know, it's sad. Are you starting to notice that you're often seeing him on the ground running between the same trees? Yep, you're right, that's what you're seeing. And it can take a lot of chewing, a lot of work, and over a minute to eat one single big swamp mahogany leaf. Oh, makes my jaw ache to think about it. He's like one of those clip-on toy koalas just clipped onto the side of that branch there. Somehow he can make the branches in the trees look like they have just been made to fit him perfectly. And sometimes he can just look like, what the hell are you doing sleeping up there on that bit of dead stick on the side of a tree in the middle of nowhere, Bullet? There is nothing more beautiful than two bush sounds for me: koalas bellowing and kookaburras laughing. You kidding me, Bullet? You are really sleeping like that? Again, I'm filming this from inside the house and so wasn't able to capture the sound, but you can see by those head movements that he's actually bellowing away out there in the trees. And on the movie goes. Yep, we're inside. If you're wondering if I ever get a sore neck from all of the, looking up and filming, yes, I do. Now look at this one, he's trying to work out the angle. You can tell he wants to jump across, but can he find the right launching spot? Usually he just does it so quickly and simply, but today he must be having one of those bad jump days. He just can't quite figure out where to leap from. And that was not something I saw very often with Bullet. Usually he was quite decisive and just climbed, leaped, climbed and leaped. But finally, he's found the right spot and he's ready to go. Whew, you were starting to have me a bit worried there, mate. Sometimes I did have some quite close encounters with Bullet. I'd come across here on the quad bike and he was just getting ready to come down this tree. I stopped the quad bike He looked at me, thought about it for only a couple of minutes and decided, nah, I don't need to worry about her. I can just keep getting on with doing the things that I need to do in my day. And so I sat there filming, and down he came and right across in front of the bike. I just love wildlife encounters like this where they know that I am not going to do anything. I'm just doing my own thing and I'm going to stay out of their way. It's quite thrilling, really. I also love how the koalas here will take a leap from the tree, sometimes leaping as much as a couple of meters away onto the ground. Here he goes, ambles across the path. He's not worried about me. Into the long grass and up into a favoured tallowood tree. As it happens, that's the tallowood tree I very first time saw Enya in. Will you just look at that squished up face? Yeah, this is actually really comfortable somehow. And here we go into 2022. He's developing a very mature looking face. That is a close look at that rip in his ear. And you can see how round his face is now, and he's got pretty much no neck. He's thick set, mature, what we expect. But he was never a huge koala. He was not like the Jordan, who was, 8.5 kilos and more. He was only down around the 7 kilos, but very male and very koala. Something I've always just loved about that particular photo. That leaf took a lot of chewing to get down. And then compare it to this thin forest red gum leaf. So funny. You can just chomp those things in a few seconds. More from my friends on Discord. We lost you too soon, but at the same time, we were lucky to have you for so long. I love to think that you were there for Katrina when she was ill earlier this year, keeping watch from your favourite trees. Wildlife is perilous, but I'm happy he was never stuck in a cage. Maybe he made a bad decision, maybe that was the wrong tree that day, but it was his autonomy. He was an amazing koala who got to live absolute freedom, his own koala way. And yummy, this tree is a secondary koala food tree that's important for them, called a dunny-eye. And I've only got a small handful of this on the property. Bullet knew where every one of them was too. You might remember this video too if you've been following me for a while. This was just outstanding. This one day I'd come along on the quad bike, got off, started to film Bullet when he came down the tree, and he is just walking directly over towards me because I'm standing beside his favourite tree. He knows I'm there, and yet he almost feels like he hasn't realised I'm there, and he is now literally right at my feet. He's about 2 feet away from me, and he did realise I was there, and he kind of stopped, looked at me and thought, she's there. Okay, well, what do you know? I might just loop around in a bit of a circle and go up the other side of the tree. Yeah, okay, buddy, whatever you think is best. How hilarious. It was the most hilarious moment, breathtaking, and a cherished moment that I will never forget. Sometimes Bullet would go from 0 to 60 in a heartbeat. Look at him. He's like, yeah, pretty much asleep. Oh, no, that's it. I'm awake. I'm off. What'll I do now? And just look at how he manoeuvres here. I need to start going backwards. There you go. That'll do. Worked it out. How clever am I? I think I would give just about anything to have hips so flexible that I can scratch the back of my shoulder with my foot. In a tree, no less. I just love the way he goes between the highs and lows of the branches as they fork out and twist and turn along. And here's another day where I saw Bullet getting down onto the ground, moving along, and he just stops to take in a good little feed of dirt. When koalas are in hospital, we always provide a bowl of safe dirt for them to eat. So what I mean is dirt that doesn't have animal droppings in it, doesn't have chemicals in it, because they do need to eat dirt at times. They might go weeks and weeks between eating dirt, and then over a week or so they might eat dirt a few times. And up into one of the plantation trees. Look at how thin that branch is, but he's got it all under control. And I love this shot because there's Bullet and there's the road sign just outside the property warning people driving by that there are indeed koalas in this area. There you go. You don't have better proof than that, do you? What a great spot. That tree has been trimmed because it's in the plantation, so we cut the leaf in here regularly to feed the koalas in hospital, and that's okay. I'll still make use of the tree and get what I need, says Bullet. Don't you worry about a thing. Every little thing's gonna be alright. So, are you sure that that's the best branch to just sit way back on and have a grooming session? Bullet says, yeah, mate. No worries. She'll be right. Again, just look at the breadth and spread of that oily scent gland on his chest. He wasn't the biggest fella, but he was a fella all right. Smelly and noisy. That's how we like our koala boys. Honestly, goofball. Just look at how he's got his arms and his legs draped. He's sitting back on that cartilage plate. Out to it. It's hard work being on quality control duty in the plantation. I gots to check every tree. Yep, seating on this one works just fine. Tasty, particularly in the rain. Yep, that passes the inspection. Forest red gum, my favourite. Early morning, looking out the kitchen window at the biggest of the forest red gum trees, and I spy with my little eye something beginning with B. It's Bullet eating in the early morning mist. And again, some more from my Discord friends. When you left Koala Gardens during the breeding season, many, including me, worried about you, but you were a wild koala leading a wild and free life, making your own decisions. Although it was devastating to find out that you were injured, it was a comfort that you came back to Koala Gardens and allowed your humans to try to help you. Your last kindness was that we know the end of your story. It was not what we wanted, and sooner than it should have been, but we know the koalas who will follow you at Koala Gardens will be following in awesome paw prints. It was a privilege to have you as my adopted koala. You were just fabulous. Rest in peace, beautiful boy. Yes, to live in the wild is dangerous, but it is the only way that these animals are happy. They are in the right place, even with the dangers of living a wildlife. Now this one really gets me. Can you see that? He is literally laying back along a really thin branch, holding the upright branch with both his feet in one hand and reaching way back over his head to grab the leaf that he wants. Wow, Bullet. Bullet really took no notice of human activity around him. For example, look at him up in the tree there, and just underneath, it's Wendy, my fabulous Wendy, who's a patron and partners with me for tours, and she's having a chat and he's oblivious. In August 2022, Hugo had to go into hospital with chlamydia, and when he left, Bullet went off adventuring and I didn't see him for some weeks. When he came back, after a little bit it was obvious something was wrong, but I couldn't see any injuries. But I knew there was a problem, so I set the trap, took him into the hospital, and unfortunately he had some severe injuries with infection that was eating the skin away, and we lost him. I always want to remember Bullet as the acrobat. We saw him do some amazing things moving from one of his favourite trees to the other, and I want to finish on a highlight note of some of his best things. Look at him. It's hard to see here, I know, but he is reaching. You see that? Swinging across from one branch to the next. He did this so many times, and I caught it on video quite a few times, and he would go from the middle tree to the left tree, and that was fairly simple. It was when he would be coming from the left tree to the middle tree that things got more tricky. So let's watch him doing one of the simpler ones first. Bullet's going from the middle tree, a forest red gum, across to the forest red gum on the left. The branches basically connect to each other. You see how easy that was? From a little thin branch into one of the bigger branches, and ta-da, ta-da, he's across. That was simple. However, when it comes to going across the other way, some of you have probably watched this video several times before. Hold on to your hats and buckle up if you haven't, because it is quite heart-stopping, quite hilarious. If you have watched it before, still buckle up. It is a video that I can just watch over and over. Here he goes. He is going to reach across to get to the next branch using that little bit of a stick at the end. I mean, I can hardly stand it. Can you imagine when I was filming it and I'm just thinking, oh no, he's not going to make it. And my heart was in my mouth. Of course, I would never have shown it to you had he had a serious accident, but yeah, he made it. And the thing is, I saw him do it again another handful of times. I couldn't always video it because there were times when I would just see him from the kitchen window and realise he's coming across and be too late. But as far as he was concerned, of course that's how you would get across. You just might have to persist a little bit. It's okay. Shall we watch that final bit again in slow motion? Look at this. There has to have been a point where he must have thought, no, this is actually not a very smart thing to do. But he was committed. You can even see him thinking, oh no, can I get out of this? But nah, what an acrobat. Sean particularly loves this next bit of video, and so he asked for this to be put in for him. Enjoy another bellowing bullet. And in 2023, bullets bellowing was used to create the amazing Bullet Song by Peter Weiss. I think that we could have a listen to the whole of that again now, don't you? whenever possible, whenever I'm making educational videos comparing things, I will keep using Bullet photos and video because he is just such a terrific example of amazing koalas. But for now, you've made it to the end of Bullet's tribute video, and there is loads more fantastic video coming your way soon. But would you make sure you did smash that like button and write into the comments below. Bullet is the ultimate hero. Thank you so much for watching and supporting and for loving Bullet with me. Another way that you can support what I'm doing here at Koala Gardens is anytime you're looking for something, just go and check whether it might be available on my Redbubble store. There's over 60 different types of merchandise and dozens of different designs to choose from.